All right, ladies and gentlemen, you are going to love my next guest. My next guest is Chris Nielson. He speaks about improv and how it will change your life. Now, he's a coach, he's a mentor, he's a trainer, he's a paid speaker out there. So obviously he's talking about some other things, but what we're going to be talking about today is really getting to know Chris as a person, his journey from where he started on his journey about, I guess, going from not being a speaker or a trainer or very proficient to where you are, to where he is now. And he's going to be sharing what improv can do and how that can pretty much shift your life and your journey as really whether you're in business for yourself or whether you're a speaker, a trainer, or a facilitator. Thanks for being here, Chris.
Thanks, Thomas. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. I'm so looking forward to this. I love you, man. I've been watching your journey. I've seen you speak. I get excited. You're a likable guy, which is a clue right there. I think that's a massive clue is be likable. Be likable. Attract the people that you're supposed to be resonating with.
Thank you. Yeah, I think I've started loving people so much more. I remember a friend of mine, and I was probably pretty selfish in my 20s, really selfish. And a friend of mine, when I was in this training, he said, all these people were coming up to him, and I said, what's your secret? And he said, I love everyone. And I said, really? There's a lot of people I don't like. and it probably was, I didn't like myself many times too. So part of that journey was really liking myself more and then actually falling in love with people. So now, if you're out there, I love you. So.
I think that's such a good point. That's a first piece of wisdom right there is like, how can you possibly expect to fall in love with your audience and be a best support to people if you don't love yourself? And I mean all the flaws and everything. I mean, if you're normal, then that's probably happens, especially if for those who are on the journey to become a professional speaker, trainer, facilitator. Oh my gosh, we stick ourselves on stage all of the time. And who's the worst critic? It's not the heckler in the audience. You're looking in the mirror, right? We're looking in the mirror. It's the worst. So you got to fall in love with, you know what? Not everybody's going to love me, but I'm going to stand out here because there are people that are looking for the message that I'm looking to share.
Yeah, I mean, I had a pretty brutal part of my life when, growing up, my dad was pretty constantly critical. And I realized running up the stairs in middle school one day between classes, dark kind of in the stairwell, and I was worried that I would trip and fall and someone would see me, but no one's there. Someone would have seen me and it would have been me. Wow. And that voice would have gone in there and started beating myself up. And it was harsh. I share with my speaking journey, I spoke an 8th grade speech I was to give, and I was shaking on the way there, and I was already sweating a little bit, and I heard the message as a kid, never let them see you sweat, and I sweat a lot. And all of a sudden I stood up to give the speech and it just poured sweat. And it's like I wanted to die in that moment. And I wanted to disappear. And that moment actually haunted me almost every speech afterwards for years and years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I love that, man. I love that you share those kind of stories. And just for those that have never met you before, could you give a really brief introduction of where you've been, how you got to here?
Sure. So that's part of it. And, growing up, I had an amazing mom, just with sunshine eyes, joyous eyes. So she's the other huge influence in my life. And so she taught me unconditional love from an early age. And then grandparents that just adored me. So I'm lucky in that way. And to get to here a little quicker professionally, I did all kinds of things, from entrepreneurial things. I did entrepreneurial things in middle school. I sold Bubble Yum and Bubblicious and up the price. I had a sound and light. Yeah, I had a sound and light show in high school with 2 other buddies. And so we ran the high school dances. I sold all the clubs at school, and they hired us. And that was a blast. And then college had shut down my entrepreneurial journey for a while. But for speaking, I finally got a message I wanted to share. And that misery still of that 8th grade moment was still there. And the fear was really strong. And part of that journey then was joining improv. And that fighting, and then hearing the voice, Carol Dweck, one of the books that totally changed my life that I totally recommend, Mindset by Carol Dweck. She's a Stanford PhD, and she talked about the growth and fixed mindset. And I really realized I had this fixed mindset that was very vicious and said, you know, if you fail, they're going to reject you and you're going to die. You know, horrible voice. And I played with that, got to play with that in improv and learn all the incredible things in improv, and that just expanded me open. I got over my fears in a bigger place, got to a bigger place through the awakening coaching I do. And then I dropped those fears, and that felt amazing. And now I have fun on stage versus fear the stage.
Okay, so let's jump into that then. You're out there. There's a couple of different topics that you're out there speaking on, and today I really wanted to get into how can improv shift someone's life. And I take it most of the folks that are watching this are on their journey at being a better speaker, communicator. I call it communicator, speaker, trainer, facilitator, a better communicator. How can improv do that?
You know, for me, just the philosophy, basic philosophy of saying yes and. You're going to be a better communicator just if you grab onto that.
Break down that. Let's break that down for you and I do improv, so we're a known, you know, we know what that is. But let's break that down for this is a new concept. What do you mean yes and?
So I share this a lot. So I was a no, but I got a better idea type person.
No but. You were a no but guy?
I was a no but. I had no but there.
That's not what I got that. That's awesome.
So I always had a better idea. And I didn't realize, you know, as I studied it, that no increases the stress hormone cortisol in our body, and we go into fight, flight, or freeze. And when we go into those, we want to get out of a situation we don't feel safe. And if we don't feel safe, you can't grow very much. When you're saying no, I talk about connection as well. Like one of the compass questions I call it, are you connecting or are you disconnecting? And when you're connected, you want to do what the person asks. So when you say yes to them, we love to hear yes to our request. If you look for ways to say yes, it increases that connection. And then you add to it, the and is adding something positive to it, then it can just roll into this, it gets bigger than you.
Yeah, it's like a life, I guess I hadn't seriously considered the angle that you're coming at, because I keep thinking about it as a way to do improvisational comedy, improv comedy, to keep the funny going on, and for personally to stretch myself as a speaker, to get out of my own head and just to kind of go with it. It creates momentum.
Yeah.
And I love this angle that you're coming at and why you say how improv can change your life, because and correct me if I'm wrong here, is you're taking the concepts, the basic concepts that makes improv comedy funny and in an ensemble,
mm-hmm.
with people getting together and doing improv, is you're saying move this to everyday life, being a yes and person versus a no but person. And what I hear is that it's changing the energy. It changes the dynamic, I guess the momentum. It's almost sounds kind of woo-woo. It's almost like an energetic, conversational, relational thing.
It does that, and it changes. When I teach it in a corporation, become a yes and corporation. Because I go, how many times has someone come to you, maybe someone not even in the department has, I got this brilliant idea, and they go to share it with their supervisor, and the supervisor says, you're not supposed to look at that. They hear that no, and that brilliant idea disappears. I mean, I think corporations have cost themselves millions, billions of dollars by saying, no, that's not a good idea. Instead of saying, let's look at that and see. And yes doesn't mean you go, hey, let's take every idea and make it happen. Yes is staying open to it at least, and then adding then tell me more.
Mm-hmm.
And what about if we do this? You know, it's adding to that. And then in personal relationships, well, first I say this to people when I walk in the room a lot of times with improv. Who has got their script for today? Anyone have their script? Life is improv. All of life is improv, and the better you get playing at it, the more fun you're going to have in life. And if you look at the people you meet on the street, like one of the things I do is do Alzheimer Association, living in the present moment workshops with caregivers. And I love I do it all day long because their lives are changed.
That's got to be so rewarding.
It's unbelievable rewarding. Imagine someone that's caring for someone and their grandmother is saying, you know, it's 1975 and we need to go do this. And you go, no, it's not 1975, Grandma. And you're fighting with Grandma versus going, yeah, Grandma, let's turn on some music and find some music from 1975 if you can. And now you and Grandma are dancing and smiling and laughing versus fighting over whether it's 1975 or not.
What I'm hearing is that this requires us as the individual, this whole yes and concept, it requires us to understand that we don't need to be right. It's not, it's an interesting concept. It's a very emotionally intelligent concept because the logical mind goes, it's not 1975. No, she needs to know it's not.
Yep.
Yeah, but for the sake of the relationship and moving it forward, do you need to be right now, Thomas? You know, is it really about making someone else wrong? Because if you need to be right and you're actually making someone wrong, you're not just right, you're making someone else wrong. And then now where does this conversation go?
That's a wonderful point, Thomas, because I was a guy that loved to be right and hated to be wrong. I remember a couple times when I was wrong and I go, oh, shoot, I know I'm wrong. And I'm still continue down that path. But I hated to be wrong and I'd make other people wrong. But I didn't realize, oh, they probably hate to be made wrong too. So I was constantly, because of my need to be right, this mask I was wearing, wanted to be good or whatever, was making disconnections versus connections.
Yeah.
And why do we have to, why not connect in 1975? Because we're all telling ourselves stories anyways. Why not make them good stories and fun stories and connecting stories?
Yeah. So the whole concept of yes and, I know you go into it so much deeper, and I do want to remind folks is that please go to see Chris. I know you must have videos and things online as well. And if you don't, Chris, you better be recording them now because I'm promoting it. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Thomas.
Yeah, I think I'd love to see more clips from you. I'd like to see some other clips of how to use yes and, how to use improv. And for those that can't always get out to see you speak live and in person, and obviously if you're listening to us right now or you're watching us right now, you'll see Chris's information down below. Please connect with Chris, super personable guy. Lives in San Diego. I know you're willing to fly anywhere else in the world. I know you're speaking. I know you do some speaking in San Diego, so go catch Chris live. And so note to Chris right now, I'm speaking to you, Chris.
Thank you.
Record some other clips for folks that are like in Dubai that are watching this, or Tokyo, you know, and things like that, that are not going to pay you to come out there. Some people will, but not everybody, you know, they want to know. So yes and. So we got yes and. Is a piece of improv. Did you want to share something else, or?
Yeah, I can share this too. I mean, it's the other thing that Jackie Lowell was my improv instructor, and it was pretty amazing journey because I was going through the fixed mind that says you're going to fail. The growth mind says, no, it's just feedback, and it's the only way you're going to get better. Just go do it, and you're not going to die. And so those voices fought for a while, and they fought in our class, and she used to ask us, when we're sitting there not getting up, what is going through your head that's not having you get up? And it's going, well, I'm going to be judged. I'm going to fail. I'm going to suck. And she shared with it, and it's a concept that I like to share too, dare to suck. And when she first shared it, I go, nope, don't want any of that. And I really resisted it. But it's actually, when you get into it, it's very freeing. I remember watching Will Ferrell way back when he was first on Saturday Night Live, and I thought, oh my gosh, that's horrible. I thought he just was doing horrible routines. And then a year later, I got to watch him, and then a year later, and I go, oh my gosh, that's funny. That's really funny. He's making me laugh. And I still, and I think it's Talladega Nights, can see him sitting next to the cougar in the actually cat, panther type animal in the car, and you know, just really, and I'm laughing my butt off. And how good he got at what he did because he was willing to fail.
Yeah. I love it, man. These are a couple of good clips. I hope everyone's getting what I'm getting because you're reminding me of some, I mean, I know improv and you're giving me a completely different take and perspective on it, how I can use improv to improve my relationships and my other interactions in life. For real. Not even just as a host right now, but it's like, this is kind of like, boom. Very, very cool.
your family, your significant other, your romantic partner, they're all loved if you learn the yes and philosophy. Hey,
So there it is. I don't know if anybody's read it, ever done it. Like, there's a title for a piece for you, because even people like, I had kind of preconceived notions about your talk on improv, how improv can change your life. And like, well, I kind of know improv. I have a attachment to what improv means. I'm thinking like how two simple words can transform your relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Boom. How about that one, Chris? That one's yours. Write that one down.
See this?
How two simple words. Or how the words yes and can transform your relationships. I'm going to watch that. I would go to a talk on that. I'd buy that course.
Yeah.
I'm going to be straight with you.
So actually, I start one of my speeches. I say 2 words changed my life. And I ask, I go, guess what 2 they were. And people take all kinds of guesses. They say, I do. I said, no, I haven't said I do, except for there twice. And then they go, what is it? Failure, whatever. They throw all these words out. And I go, no, no, no. And then if there's an improv person in the audience, they go, yes. And I said, that's it.
Sweet. That's right. That's right. Cool, man. So listen, a couple things about you and your journey. And obviously, if people want to know more about your talks and things that you're speaking on and want to meet you, they can come and see you live. All right, connect with you. I want to know if you had to start over, if you had to start over on your journey, what would you do differently when it comes to developing yourself into a great communicator?
How far back in years, or what are you thinking there? What's your thoughts?
Well, just think about your journey, on your journey to where you are right now and where you started. If you could kind of go back and wave a magic wand, what would you have done differently?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I've learned so much even from the failures. I look at that now and can clearly see it. So I'm thankful for and grateful for almost every experience I've had in my life. I've had my heart broken multiple times, and now I know my heart's unbreakable. Just this thing goes temporarily crazy. But so many experiences. But if you want to be a speaker, a great speaker, I guess the things I would do this as a great speaker, I would have loved to found and had the bravery to do improv in college, or the first moment I was aware of it, and just keep playing with that. Plus, you've got that we talked about earlier, the self-love. I didn't have that self-love and compassion. When I joined Toastmasters, that's another thing I would do. Join Toastmasters, maybe multiple clubs, and speak and speak and speak and get feedback. But what I realized is I called table topics, which is impromptu speaking for like a minute or so. I called those terrible topics or terrifying topics or tornado topics. And you're like Dorothy clicking your heels 3 times, wishing there's no place like home in the middle of it, going, get me out of here. It's because this was so dangerous. So one of the things I love to do is create safe places.
Meaning your head. Your head was dangerous.
Places in here too. Yeah, my head was so dangerous place to be that I couldn't take feedback really readily. And so I would say, I do this exercise with people. I go, okay, so if we're hard on himself, let's see if you can do this. Get ready to start with me. Let's see if you can get away from yourself. You move around. Can you get away from yourself? Wherever you go, that's where you are. And I want people to become, I do a little bit of bullying education for kids. And I say, I ask, who points to the most dangerous person in the room to you? And it's you. If someone calls you an idiot and you say, I'm not an idiot, or yeah, I was a little bit an idiot there. Versus if you say, oh, I am an idiot. That was stupid. I can't believe I did that. Why did I do that? And I was someone that did something like that, repeated it over and over. Why did I do that? That's why speaking was very difficult to do. I share the crazy things I did. I sweat a lot, and I was afraid you to see me sweat. So I wore panty liners, Thomas, under my armpit.
That's a secret. That's a for anyone going like, oh my God, that just sounds like Looney Tune. Like Chris is the only guy. No, he's not. No, he's not. That's a speaker trainer tip.
But the sad thing for me, Thomas, was that It was an island of a panty liner in a lake of sweat.
So it didn't really work. Oh my God.
It didn't work for me in that case.
You needed to just wear it like diaper as a shirt.
I know. And a diaper shirt. That's what I needed. I would oftentimes buy two of the same shirt that I could switch.
God. That's so funny.
I remember I stuck an ice pack in my pants. That was an exhilarating experience. This was another sad one.
This is the true confessions of a speaker. And I totally resonate with this because I wonder if we've all done something like this.
I wonder too. I would love to hear what other people have done. Here was the other one. So imagine this is a water bottle. And I thought it was so clever. I put it in the freezer and it was half frozen and half water. And so it felt really good on the back of the neck, but I was getting really, you know what's happening, don't you? I got really nervous before the speech, so I chugged it.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden I started talking and my tongue was numb and I was slurring my words like this. And then I started to pour sweat anyway.
Oh my gosh. Well, it was either that or you took a swig of it and then the chunk of ice just pushed all the water out into your face.
Oh, that would have made me pour sweat as well.
Yeah.
That
Totally.
didn't happen to me, but
Totally.
I could feel my tongue being kind of clunky, and I go, oh my gosh, and then I got self-conscious, and the sweat just poured.
Oh God.
Beginning.
Hey, man. So this is so good. This has been awesome, and our time has absolutely flown by. You know, it was our intention to keep this rather snug. It's like so good. I want to keep going with you. We're gonna have to have like part 2, part 3, and go off on some other topics. So jot down things that you would love to get into, and maybe we can kind of riff off of each other and on a couple of other topics for folks that are on the speaker journey.
Absolutely.
But, last couple of questions. One is so social correctness aside, you're mentoring a new speaker or someone on the journey. You're mentoring a speaker. What is something that perhaps you've never shared before that you feel new speakers really need to hear?
I share a lot of it. So what would be something new?
Well, I mean, just even, is there something that your polite side doesn't say, and you really think that people need to know is boom?
Well, I think kind of you said it earlier when we were talking before is the less you give a fuck about what someone thinks about you, the more.
And he said the word on the air. Very nice. Very good.
Yeah,
we said that in the green room.
Yeah, I said it on the air now. And here's where I'm becoming more free too. Is the journey to freedom. And I get this is we all put masks on and things like that. I look into things kind of deeply. And one of the things I looked at, why do women like bad boys? And I said, it's not because they're bad. It's because they're alive boys.
They're free.
They're free. They're alive. They're living. They're not all constrained in their little corporate prisons or whatever prison they put themselves, or all the programming that's gone in. They're alive, and that's attractive. So as a speaker, go be alive, risk, fail, get up, risk, fail, get up, and go do it again.
Beautiful. That was well said. I like that. Yeah, that was perfect there. So this is the quick fire questions round. Just a couple of quick things for you, and we'll wrap up this episode. Do you have a favorite maybe book, application, resource, quote, something like that you would love to share with listeners?
Well, there's a few of them out there. I love Clinton Swain and his Frontier Training's Play to Win. It's a free play experience, so you get to feel that in your body, and there's a lot of speaking opportunities. He was the one who first introduced me to an improv game with the Change Game. Wow. The Change Game, and used it as a incredible coaching tool. So playing in that atmosphere is incredible. The book Mindset, as I said earlier, that changed me. I realized all the mistakes I actually made as a parent, and realized how, even though I love to learn, this growth, this fixed mindset, the negative voice was in me, and it gave me a tool to kind of change that. The other thing is Byron Katie's, I love the book, Loving What Is. And if you can get to a point in life, people, where you love this moment just as it is, oh my gosh, life is good.
Beautiful. Wow, 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 and wow. This has been so much fun for our pre-green room conversation, which I think we're going to have to publish a piece of that as well, just raw.
All right.
As well as this chat about how improv can really change your life. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoy this as much as I did having Chris Nielson here. I'm going to put Chris's contact information down below. I encourage you to go and see him, especially if you're in San Diego. I know he speaks frequently in San Diego. But Chris also does coaching and mentoring on the phone as well. So please get in touch with him. Thank you, Chris, for investing your time, your love, your presence, and your wisdom. I'm looking forward to seeing you live here real soon.
Thank you, Thomas.
All right. That's a wrap, guys.